Okay, I think I've got the microphone working. Now for the camera. Let's see if I can get that back working again. Also, hello, good morning. Oh wait, am I just... Oh, I'm like over there. Hold on, let me reset you. Let's reset transform. Ah, that's really big. Put me over here and flip me. Let's see, flip vertical. No, that was the wrong way. Oh, can I do Control Z? I can do Control Z. Okay, flip horizontal. There we go. Much better. All right. So somebody was able to give me a standing desk. And so I got that down here, and I'm in the middle of like setting it up and sort of like resetting everything. So they got the camera in a different position. I'm not super happy where that is. I didn't have a good place to put the arm boom for the mic, so I have this. Please show it. Okay, we're back. Unplugged it by accident. I've got that just on the stand on my desk in front of me, just like old days. So I think we're gonna have to tweak it around a little bit, but it is a larger desk, which is nicer. And I've got like things surrounding me now. Camera with like the green screen behind me is gonna be interesting. Not exactly sure where to put that. Maybe I can do something with the monitor above me and sort of like put the camera between them, like pointing at me a little bit more instead of pointing next to me. That might be interesting. Plenty of things to sort of play around with. So, with that all being said, I don't have Visibility Cam up yet. I have the camera in the next room, and I don't know exactly where to put his bed in here. I moved some, like the old desk is next to this desk now. So yeah, lots of unknowns, but I do have more room. So that is nice. Okay, so couple things. First, where's my Discord window? Stacking shared a project that's a potential replacement for Ranger. I want to take a look at that today. So that's called Rust Traverse. 2056, hello. How are you doing today? You're learning Colmac DH. I don't know about the DH, but you're talking about the keyboard layout, right? Okay, I tried to load that link and it just loaded Discord. That's not what I wanted. I just have to copy it, and the old-fashioned way. No. Oh, it copies like the Discord thing? Oh, that's not what I want. Okay, fine. With the D and the H keys moved for comfort. Oh, okay. So I've switched over a long time ago to Colmac, but not Colmac DH. Where did D and H move on that version? They move from the home row to the row below. Interesting. So essentially they're below your index finger. Ah, interesting. Okay, yeah. So normally, let me see if I can. Where does this load? Does this load anywhere? But oh, I can't make this any bigger, can I? So I don't know if you can see in Colmac. So we have D and H here on the home row. D is normally moved to the right where G is, and H stays the same. Is there a Colmac DH? Wait, this is just other languages. Oh, okay, I see. Oh, okay, so by default it's not included here. I'd have to go and download it. Oh, Colmac mods. Oh, okay. So it's a mod. Sorry about that. I guess that's just its own website, so. Okay, so D goes to where. Only move. Okay, so everything starts having to move around. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that moves because like that moves one thing, which moves another thing, which moves another thing. Interesting. You're not coming from Colmac though. You're going straight cold turkey from QWERTY. That makes sense. Like if you're gonna go from QWERTY to like something, then might as well go to something like a big change is perfectly fine. I don't know how. Like I guess the reason I don't think I would want to go with this now because it's too similar to what I have right now. It'd be like. Ironically, it's too hard if it's too similar, I think, to learn. But if it's different enough, I think it's actually pretty easy. Yeah, I see that the highlights here. I see some of these benefits. So it's like moves them into easier to reach positions, which like that was the original idea, was like move a lot of things in easier to reach positions. So it's not quite as good. Now I've managed to install Colmac on my on my tablet, on my other things. I do like Colmac. I like it a lot. I do feel that I have a little bit less hand pain when I'm doing like long typing sessions over a long period of time. So I think that is a huge benefit that we get. But this is adding, it's basically incremental change. So it's like, okay, if I'm gonna go like any further, would I go for Colmac DH or would I go for something really big like Dvorak? Like Dvorak programming or Dvorak like writing. I don't know. You've disabled all but 36 keys in your keyboard too, so any finger would only have to move one spot. I think that helps more the strain than the layout does. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you're going full into this. Something that I did find is that my ability to type QWERTY has greatly diminished. I am terrible at typing on the QWERTY keyboard now, and it starts like every session where I have to type on one starts with hunt and peck, like, and then slowly I can, like, while looking at the keyboard, go back. But it's not really, it's not a thing. It's not gonna happen. And that's fine. I think that's fine. Usually if for some reason I have to work with somebody else's computer, which isn't too often, but every once in a while seems to happen. And Microsoft Windows doesn't have, Windows doesn't have a Callmac by default that you can just sort of use. You have to go find a download for it, and then you can install it. Mac has Callmac by default installed, and I also had to do the same thing for an iPad. I didn't install it on my phone. I don't think I need to, but I can use an external keyboard on my iPad, which basically makes it so I can do full writing on that. And I've never been a super fast writer, so I'm not really, like, I've never was really worried about like becoming the fastest that I possibly can. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Let us know how it goes. I know somebody who learned Callmac straight off, like they never learned touch typing with QWERTY, so their first touch typing was Callmac, and it was hilarious because I was playing a game with them, and their game switched them. Well, they switched to QWERTY so they can play the game, and then they're like, I can't type, and nothing they said made sense. It was hilarious. Oh, you've got a nice fancy keyboard to switch with that. Okay. So you were raised typing AZERTY, which is French Belgian. You had to learn QWERTY. Yeah, so I started with QWERTY because when I first started typing, my parents didn't give me a computer to do homework on. They're like, here, have this ancient old typewriter that we had a long time ago. You get this. Stacking, hello. In 2023, you always buy a keyboard with QMK and VIA. Is this that's for the, I don't know what those stand for. I'm guessing that it's for the ability to sort of like change the keys around and do macros, right? Quick macro keys? All right. Meanwhile, I want to check out this. Stacking, you shared this with us yesterday, and it looks pretty cool. QMK is the firmware, and VIA is the web interface that allows you to reprogram it on the fly. Ah, okay. That explains why I don't recognize VIA, because I never installed the software for any of my keyboards. I just figure out how to do the keyboard layout stuff on the keyboard itself. And therefore, I never actually do much when it comes to like updating like keyboard layouts, because it would be too painful to do it like one at a time. So instead of like, okay, I'm gonna remap like caps lock to escape, which I often do on the keyboard, if I'm like working on something that's not easy to do on the system itself. All right, cool. Let's turn to this. So Stacking, you shared this. Potentially we can use this as a replacement for Ranger. And we never even looked at NNN. So let's look at Rust Traverse. So it looks like I'm kind of sad I can't do a cargo install. So I think we have to clone the repo and then install it. Where's Ranger lacking? I don't think it's lacking too much right now. Let's see, there were every once in a while I think about like, okay, I wish I could do this with Ranger, but then I forget what it is because I don't write it down. And it's like it's clearly not something that happens all the time. Ranger is pretty good. I think for the most part, I'm just getting more upset that Helix doesn't have something like Ranger inside. But we want to check this out, see how it is. We've been Rustifying all of our like everything. So we've got Zealage made with Rust. We've got Alacrity made with Rust. We've got let's see what else, like Helix made with Rust. So let's try this thing. We're oxidizing. Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, I figure one of the things is like I'm doing all this Rust stuff. I'm getting like sort of known for doing tons of Rust stuff. Let's just like completely Rustify everything, oxidize everything. Which, if I remember correctly, oxidize doesn't necessarily make sense for Rust stuff because I think Rust was not meant to be oxidized metal, but something else. I don't remember what it is though. I just remember that being like a conversation that happened a long time ago. Yeah, the file transverse creation modification story of Helix is making you really sad. I mean, it's really easy. The story is not one that exists. It's a blank book, or it's not even a book. It's just a void. Okay, so we cd into there. We're gonna run cargo build release in it. Chris Biscardi made a video on how he replaced everything with Rust. Ooh, interesting. There's been a lot of really good stuff to play around with it. All right, the binary will be in target release RT, and we can add the binary to a path, or do I have? Do we have like a bind here? I do not. So let's create one. And we can't remember if I need to do this as a hard link or not. Maybe, okay, so we can hard link, or we can, is this symlink? This is symlink, right? The other one's hard link. I never remember off the top of my head. But okay, we're gonna go from code other target release RT to here. Okay, so that gives me RT, which is a link to here. If cargo bind is in path, it should be fine. Well, the thing is that it's not being installed via cargo install. This was just compiled via cargo build. I don't think that the cargo.toml is configured to tell it like, hey, put this binary in like the place. Otherwise, we absolutely could just do cargo install, and I think everything would just work as expected. So let's see. We have this here. I don't think I have anything super like secret in my my .zsh, but let's see. Want to find, okay, so here's homebrew. Yeah, I think, yeah, this is fine. So here's my path. Okay, so we have homebrew stuff. I guess let's put it before this, before path. So we'll also put $home bin. Okay. That's up and okay, so we're gonna keep this window on the left just in case everything goes horrifically wrong, and we're gonna resource. Okay, I still seem to have a shell, so that's a good sign. Dumoroy, hello. How are you doing today? How do I run this? RT? Okay. I feel like this isn't meant to be in small, or like this zoomed in this small of a let's full screen this. Okay, so we have a current directory. Yeah, so if I don't full screen this, I feel like I would prefer to see what's on the right more than the left. So if it's gonna scroll this, like show me from the right first. But okay, how directories? Am I in? It's not showing me links, is it? I'm trying to use like Vim moods. Arrows doesn't seem to do anything. Okay. We're gonna have to look at the instructions. Usage. Run RT in your terminal. Okay, escape or queue quits the application. 1 selects the files pane. 2 selects the directories pane. J select the next item in the current pane. K select the previous item. Okay. So 1 select files, 2 directories. Ah, okay. So we can come down. We'll go to oh, so capitals first. Then I go to code. And so can I search? No. Code. Okay. Oh, and there's my file. So I can go to 1. See those. Okay. Not bad. Now, something that Ranger does that's really nice that this is not doing is that I do get here. Let's compare. So if I start from root, I do Ranger. So already now it's blue versus white. So that's not really necessarily like a big deal. I do like being able to see like left and right. That might be something that I'm just used to. So let's see. Let's go to course articles. I do get a little bit of sort of like the colors set up for this. Whereas here, go to course articles. There's nothing in the preview. Is that something we can set up? Okay, so F for find, essentially. Navigate to a directory using the relative or absolute path. Because it's not really find, it's not really like a search. Extract the selected archive to the current directory. Okay, so if I like select a zip file, it would just extract it. They do have move and copy, which I don't think I use very much. I think I have done it in Ranger once before, but I haven't used it very much. Fuzzy Finder. Okay, so toggle FCF. I don't even know if I have that. Will that even work? What was that? W? So, okay. Yeah, okay, so working. Okay, how do I control and control P? Oh, then I have to lock Zellage, and then I can go control and control P. Then I can open you. Oh, it doesn't open you. It just keeps you open like that. Okay. Now the bookmark options are nice. I haven't even looked to see if I can do that in Ranger. Configuration is located at .config traverse config.txt. Interesting that they're choosing a .txt. The default configuration is follows: show hidden false, excluded directories. Okay. The bookmarks file is also located at config directory traverse bookmarks. So are those the only config things we can possibly do? Okay, so you have show hidden, excluded directories. Oh yeah, that's it. Those are the only two configuration options that we have right now. So it's interesting. It looks really nice. I'm not. Let's see. What was the nice thing that this has? Oh, bookmarks. Let's see if Ranger has bookmarks. Oh, I don't want commands. I want key bindings. Okay, so we have unset bookmark, draw bookmarks, which is enter bookmark, any BG draw, enter. Okay, so M is set bookmark. What is BG? That's not backspace. Okay, maybe the man page will help. Okay, %any is used in the Ranger configuration to create a key binding for adding a bookmark. C, set bookmark, creates a bookmark for the current directory, and the key for the bookmark is the first supplied argument. In this case, the key pressed after M. Oh, so this is a remapping of keys. That's not what I want. I want to see what the normal thing is. Bookmarks. Type M key to bookmark the current directory. You can re-enter this directory by typing key. Key can be any letter or digit. Unlike Vim, both lowercase and uppercase bookmarks are persistent, so they're going to persist across jump, which is nice. Each time you jump to a bookmark, the special bookmark at key tilde will be, no, not tilde, backtick, will be set to the last directory. So typing backtick gets you back to where you were before. Bookmarks are selectable when tabbing in the quote C or :cd command. Apostrophe and backtick are the same. Okay, so if I say, hey, I really like course articles, I want to like A for articles. Then I'm over here. That's, oh, I probably shouldn't do something like that. That exists already. So like M. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it shows me which ones I have. That's nice. Oh, it's taking me to Brooks Builds. I need to go into here. Oh, don't actually go in there. Rusty Restation, hello. You have a question regarding unit testing. How do you approach a unit test which interacts with external components like databases? Currently, you're abstracting the calls via traits and then using mock all, but this approach gets messy quite fast because of static dispatch and structs, especially if you have multiple abstractions in one struct. You come from a Java background, so you try to map your thought process to Rust. Is there a most rusty way of achieving this? So I guess one way is, let me define unit test the way I sort of understand it myself. And the community can jump in on this too. The way I understand a unit test is that you're testing a single unit of code in isolation. So that would be the function itself without its connection to the database. Like, it's not actually going to connect to the database. It's not going to do anything else. If you want to test something more, that'd be more of an integration test. And at that point, you're testing sort of like from the outside, calling like, okay, I want to like do this entire big thing and I want it to like connect to a database or not, or whatever you want to do at that point in time. So I guess the easy way would be separate them out, so you have one sort of set of code that's like in charge of database connections and like working with the database, and the other part of your code that is doing the logic work, and then you can call the test the logic work, and then you could have an integration test that tests just that everything works. I know, logicking, very technical term here. Does that make sense, Rusty Restation? That's sort of like my thought process without actually giving you anything that actually like, helps to implement, unfortunately. If I remember correctly, doesn't Java define unit test though as like testing the entire struct? Something like functional core imperative shell. Maybe, yeah. That might be a good way. I've never thought of it that way. That might work out as like an explanation of it. Yeah, I've never been like a purist when it comes to like any kind of functional programming. I do like the idea of functional programming, and I implement like quite a bit of it, but not like to 100%. And there's something else which I think is interesting is there's no need to do unit testing on something that somebody else has done a lot of unit testing on. So, for example, a connection to a database theoretically is tested a lot by the database writer. So if you're using something like CORM, theoretically they have a ton of unit tests about connecting to CORM. So you probably don't need to like, okay, here the connection to the database works and that kind of thing. Integration testing, you probably do want to make sure, hey, it actually like updates the thing in the database correctly, and like everything works, like the entire thing together works. But yeah, as I mentioned, that's like a different thing. Sometimes that's even written in a different language. Like if it's a front end, you might be writing all that stuff, like doing true integration testing where it's like hit the browser hits the back end, and then the back end connects to the database and then back to the browser again. You're only testing the browser to make sure that everything works. In which case, that's a very different language usually that you're testing. So far that's my guess, my thought process on it. There's another idea of testing called boundary testing, in which you write the unit tests for the function. Your mistrust of others is why you program. That is a great way of trust their unit tests, I say. Yes. And then, so that would be a great. It's like, okay, now announcing third-party unit testing for, or I guess like third-party integration testing for your favorite crates. Writing business logic and pure functions and test these via unit tests and rest via integration tests. That's sort of my method right now. And I think it's been working out for me pretty well. So if you try that, let us know how it goes for you. And I like, hopefully it works out pretty well. Another thing you could potentially do is like try to centralize all of the state changing into one place. So that might be, you have like a struct that does all the communication to the database, and you have your business logic that doesn't like directly call that, but like bubbles up or like calls a caller or do something to like basically say, okay, you go do that now. And then that way you can also test, does it actually call the thing to tell it to do what you want it to do? I've not done that myself. I've heard really good things about it, but it's I don't have any direct experience with it. That would be interesting though, 2056, if we if like people created like watch, like not they're like sort of watchdog automated testing crates. What is this pattern called? I don't know what the pattern is called. It's a pattern that I've sort of created as, I guess not, I probably didn't create it. I think I've like borrowed pieces of it from different sort of like mentors that I worked with, different code bases that I worked with, and also just like, okay, this really sucks. I hate testing this. Let's switch to something else. So a lot of pain, a lot of pain. I used to go overboard with like, okay, I'm gonna test everything. So I did the thing where I did that sort of like Java style, where it's like, okay, my unit tests are testing the database works because I have to test that, right? Sort of like 2056. Do I trust that, you know, the database driver actually works? What if I installed the wrong version? What if that now it won't work anymore? I need to test that that's working. And so I had tests for everything. And then it just, the problem is that the test took forever. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a test and I'm gonna make a change and run the test. And it's like 5-10 minutes of waiting, and it's like, okay, I can now write my next little bit of code. That was a nightmare. Some people adopt zero trust. I was born in it, molded by it. Like zero trust. You're redefining zero trust here, and I like it. You're like, we're saying, okay, zero trust isn't about the ability to like allow a user to like, you know, do something and we don't trust any device or whatever they're on. No. We're just talking about that we just don't trust the vendors that are providing the code to us. And we're going to rewrite all the tests they have. And of course, if they fail because they change it, we're going to yell bloody murder. I would be hilarious if like you then also create a third-party website that shows like, okay, the uptime for like our how good for these tests, like how trustworthy are the updates for oh, actually, you know what could be useful for that? You could find out how trustworthy people are with semantic versioning, and you can say like, look, they just broke all this stuff with a like a dot release. That's not cool. So that is a valid use case of it. It would probably piss off a lot of library creators though. You don't trust the people that invented the term. That makes sense. I mean, zero trust, right? You're not supposed to trust them. Oh, I can't actually quit out of system settings. I have to go here and then I can quit out of it. All right, so when do we incorporate and get started with this business? First, we need to get some VC capital. I don't think I'll move on this unless I get like at least 100 million. I don't have a business plan, so I don't think that we'll be able to pay them back, but you know, we don't need to make money. We'll just take VC money forever. All right. That's fine, but you'll manage the bank account. You don't trust me. That is hilarious. We'd like, okay, this entire company built on lack of trust. By the way, nobody trusts each other, so it just, yeah, it's a thing. In RT here, before I sort of finish looking at it, is there a way in Rust Traverse to open up a file? Or is it really just for looking through code? Because like I don't see anything here about like opening a file. It's just really looking at files. which to me is a big part of Ranger. And it's actually the big reason why I use Ranger a lot right now is because Helix doesn't have a tree. So I like where RT is going. This is a really cool look to it. Things that I would love to see as it continues development. I'd love to see this getting some colors. So like give me some like syntax highlighting in there. I would love to see the current directory handle like smaller boxes, or let me like remove some of these. Like I don't really care about disk usage all the time. I don't need that every single time I do something. So like maybe this could be removed and then I can make current directory much larger. I heard someone using the Helix file picker branch locally and being very happy with it, but that sounds like work. Yeah, I've every once in a while I've gone and like taken a look at the GitHub issue that the discussion is on, and a lot of people are saying that it's really good. Apparently, it's a really big merge, and so it's working its way through. But it'll be coming. It's definitely coming. And just who knows how long it will be. So I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, so if I CD around, so let's see, I'm in. Yeah, so if let's switch to like here, go to our old ECS. If I quit out of here, where am I? Oh, I'm still in here. So it feels, wait, this doesn't actually change directories for me? Uh-oh. I tried to go to code for like local, that didn't work. Hard crash when it can't find the thing. I'm trying to find it though. Fixing your LSP issue would make you adopt Helix full time. Well, that plus the tree. Which is your LSP issue? You get Rust docs LSP hints in some projects, but not others. Invalid code is pointed out in any project. It's odd. Oh yeah, I did notice that. Where it's like, okay, here's this problem in like this other project, which did drive me crazy, and I can't remember what I. Oh, you know what it is? If I have a problem in my code, it sometimes shows the problem in another like project's code. I fix it in my code and that other one goes away. I haven't used it. I haven't done any wrestlings, so I haven't really taken a look at that to see how good or not good it is. Yeah, so it works. It does work on my projects, but yeah, wrestlings I haven't tried, so I don't know. All right. I wrote this article, I think, with you all last week, and so it's time for us to record a video on this. We have the objectives here, but I wonder if I want to do like a video notes on this. So basically it'll be like video checklist. Okay, so we want to describe serializing and deserializing. So we have that. We want to serialize the Rust direct into a stringified. Okay, so we want to serialize and deserialize. Okay, so that would be the add Serde derive. Let's see, serialize a Rust object, deserialize a JSON string, lovely spelling there. Let's see. Then I want the custom serialize and deserialize. Okay, I think this is what I would need to run with this. So if I take, how do I want to do this? I probably want to use something like stickies, don't I? Okay, so I'll throw that over there. I can make those stay above, right? Float on top. There we go. So then you'll go away. We can quit out of view. Oh, right. I wasn't going to use Alacrity for this. So we can move all of you out of the way. Okay, so this window is the only thing I got here. So we want to open up VS Code for a brand new project. I guess we can do that here. So I want to go to Playground. This is something that I really like with Ranger is we can configure Ranger so when I exit out of it, it CDs me into that directory, which is really nice. Okay, so then do we have the latest version of Rust? I do. Okay, so this is going to be so handling JSON, I think. call this? You go over here. Yes, I trust you. And you go over there. We'll close you. We have all these things. I have my terminal. We can cargo run this. You're happy. Close you off. What are you yawning? Oh, one requires a reload. Rust analyzer. Okay, well, definitely want to reload that. Okay. You're happy. So I'll keep this open here. We'll see that. That's fine. Okay. What is serializing? What is deserializing? What Serde? What Serde drive? We'll serialize a Rust object. Right, so I can do something like pulling it from a file. I think that would be fine too. We'll deserialize it, and then the custom serialize and deserialize, I think, is the one that is the toughest. Hold on, let me. I forget what I did with that. Oh, and I worked on this in my other project before I do anything else. Okay, working with JSON and Rust. So we have all the serializations. Oh, that's nice. My okay, so I can get to the different levels here. This is really cool. So handling custom types. So say we have that. We create a helper struct. Well, thank you, 2056, for hanging out and in chat. And if you don't come out of lurk before we end for the day, then have a great rest of your day too. Okay, right. So we use a color. We use basically a helper struct. And then we impl. That one has derive, and we can impl serialize and deserialize. So I might want to keep that over here for reference. Because this is the fun one. I think this is the first like sort of bigger lesson we're gonna do. Okay, this is, I think, what we got. So I think I'm about ready to start a thing on this. Let's, apparently I left Twitch, the alerts off. That was fine. So I'll just keep those off, and music is off. Okay. I think we're good. All right, recording time. For those of you who have not seen when I record, I am obviously still streaming here. I'm gonna record to a file at the same time that we're streaming. That's going to be just like get a little, like, you know, pre and exit on for when I do upload it. And we sort of pretend that I'm not streaming, so I don't directly reference you Twitch chat. But if you have any questions, if you have any comments or anything, go ahead and throw them in there. I will glance at them every once in a while, and if it's something that I can't integrate into the lesson, I will attempt to do that. Otherwise, we can sort of cover it after I'm done. And I try to keep these relatively short. You saw the checklist that I'm going for here. This is everything we're going to try to cover. So I don't know how long this is going to take. Hopefully not too long. I don't think that long lesson videos are a good idea, but we'll see. This is take 1. And this is also the first recording of the day, which means that I may just end up ending it instantaneously like we did last time. So we'll see. All right. Thank you, Andrew. And we'll see how it goes. I do know that at least one person had. Oh, Sylvie, you're here. Hi. You wanna say hi before we start recording? I brought some food down for him, and he's more interested in that too than saying hi to us. So, and I don't have cat cam, so sorry about that. I did also get another microphone, but I need to buy something for it in order to connect it to my Mac, because if I get that, then we can record on my Mac and I can keep all the stuff up for you, including like a cat cam, so you could like see all that stuff, but the recording would only have the screen, which would be exactly what we want. So all right, I'm trying to think about the intro of like, do I just go into it? Maybe I just go into it. All right, here we go. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about serialization and Serde. So serialization is and deserialization is what we're talking about at that. Okay, yeah. Clearly I don't know how to speak. So that was my insta fail. Let me go find the video and delete that. No, wrong keyboard. Hi, Sylvie. Want to come over here? And is this in your way? Come over here. I changed the layout of the room, so he's very concerned. Okay, well he'll hang on over there. Let's try this again. Let's talk about serialization and deserialization. They generally mean how to like convert data from a format that your code can read and work with to a format that can be sent over the network or something else can do with. Oftentimes, we will deserialize something from from a network call, for example, where it's coming in JSON form, which is extremely common in web development, into, well, we're in Rust, right? So this is going to be into a Rust struct. And when we serialize, that's going to serialize into a string, well, usually a JSON string. And then we send that over the wire to whoever's calling us. And that's how it can communicate data back and forth. You can actually deserialize and serialize into many different formats, not just those. But in web development and in most cases that sort of we're dealing with, that's what we're going to focus on today is the JSON side of things. So how do we do this? We use a crate called Serde. Serde is probably one of the most popular crates for serializing and deserializing, and it includes some helpers that makes things really, really nice. Let's go ahead and sort of like set up, let's first start by adding Serde to our project. So here I have just a playground project. It's just a hello world right now. It doesn't have anything special in it. Let's add Serde to it. So we're gonna do a cargo add Serde. And we notice that it has some features here. A feature that we're gonna want really badly is this derive feature. Derive makes things super easy for us to work with. So we're gonna do cargo add Serde f derive. Do notice that if we do add derive, it then adds Serde derive for us automatically, which is perfect. Okay, so we have this in here. Let's also create a JSON file for us to use, like something that actually exists that we can like pull in. So I'm going to new file. Let's do example.json. We'll just do something very, very simple. Let's think about like maybe like a game object, like if we were trying to model, you know, a ghost in the game of Pac-Man, let's say. So we have maybe like name is red ghost. And then red ghost has a color. So let's do color. And then that might be another object, let's say, with red of like 255, green 0, and blue is 0. Notice that if I try to put in a trailing comma, that's not legal JSON. So this is similar. If you're familiar with JavaScript but not JSON, this may be something that like feels a little bit odd, and that's because JSON itself can sort of go beyond what we have in just regular, well, JavaScript. It's something meant to be read by multiple systems. The fact that it has JavaScript object notation is for the most part just sort of describing its history these days. All right, so if I save that, I think we're about ready to sort of jump into things. So to begin with, we want to model this, and we'll throw this over to the side here. Let's model this inside of code. I'm going to do this all inside of the main function so we can sort of like see how everything works together here. So we're going to have a struct. Let's name this like a game object. And so we're going to have a name that's going to be a string, and we're going to have a color. Now this color is another object, so that clearly means we're going to have a struct, maybe like color, which means you come up here. You are going to have red, which is U8, green, which is U8, and blue, which is a U8. These we definitely can have trailing commas on. Okay, now if I wanted to pull in this sort of JSON and then and make it like something that we have here, we're going to, well, first we need to like actually just pull in this file and have it access to us. Let's use include stir for that. So in our main function, let's replace you. I'll do this is our, like, call it red ghost raw equals, I would usually probably just shadow things, but I'll do them one sort of like we'll not shadow in this example so you can sort of like see how things are working. So red ghost raw, we're going to do include stir. Now this includes a string relative from the main.rs. If we look, our example.json is right next to it. So I should be able to say I want example.json. So that gives me a static string right here. Okay, great. Now let's debug this out and sort of see what we have. So looking at this, we have a red ghost raw, and it's a string. Kind of what we expected. We're using include stir on this. So we have this string. It has the new line characters. So it's actually trying to keep the format of that JSON exactly as we expect it to be. But of course, this isn't usable to us. If I wanted to get what this color was, I couldn't do that because it's just, well, a string. And parsing through this is going to suck. This is where Serde comes in. Now, if I want to serialize, well, in this case, I want to deserialize this into the game object, we're going to use those derives. So I'm going to derive serialize. Now, Rust Analyzer has been giving me, like, it's not been super helpful. I have to write serialize and deserialize, and then I have to like manually pull it in because it doesn't do that. Try there. Now I can do quick fix, import you, quick fix, which is command dot, because I'm on a Mac, import you. There, now you're happy. Now you're not happy because I need to implement this derive on color as well, because every child of the whatever object we're trying to serialize or deserialize must also serialize and deserialize. Okay, makes sense. So let's pull this in and we'll copy paste you down there. So, okay, you're happy now. We still have this red ghost raw though. So let's turn this into a game object. To do that, we're going to want Serde JSON. So it's going to be another crate that we need here. So let's add that. Cargo add Serde JSON. I don't think we need any special features in here, so I believe we're good to go. So now we can do let red ghost equals Serde JSON. Let's do from stir, and we can pass it that red ghost raw. Now this is telling me that it's giving me a result, and it also doesn't know what this is supposed to be. So first off, let's just go ahead and unwrap this. It should work, but it's, again, still an unknown. It needs some type hintings here, and it's yelling at us about that right now. So in Serde.json from stir, I want to give it, this is going to be a game object. Okay, now it's happy again. We can do another debug where we say this is the red ghost after deserialization. Deserialization. Now, of course, you're actually going to be upset, aren't you? Because to do this, we need debug. All right, that should make that happy. Let's go ahead and run this code and see how this works. That just adds that again. Let's do cargo run, please. There we go. Okay, so we have our first debug, our first sort of a debug line here, which shows that still in the stringified form, and then we have our game object after deserialization, and it's exactly what we expect. So I should now be able to go in and grab the red color out of here, and I get type hintings for this too, because at this point it's just regular normal, well, Rust code. So if I wanted to go into color red, it knows about this. So perfect. That's exactly what we want. Okay, so this is great. What if we want to go the other way around? So let's say we deserialize this. Let's make a change to it. I'm also going to move this over to the right so you can see the entire line all at once. And we're going, let's make this mutable. Let's maybe change it so that it's not a red ghost anymore, it's a green ghost now. So we'll do red ghost, color, we'll do red, it's going to equal to 0. Red ghost dot color dot green is now going to be equal to 255. Okay, great. Let's now, obviously this is still in like sort of like the serialized form. Sorry, this is still in the deserialized format, just the Rust struct. So I want to now create something that could be saved to a file, could be saved to a JSON object and sent out. So that means we need to serialize it. We can use JSON for this too. So let's do let, this is now green ghost, essentially raw. So I'll call this JSON, maybe stringified JSON equals, okay, so we're going to do started JSON. What we can do, well, we probably want like toString. That makes sense, right? Serialize the given data structure and it takes in a reference to a T. So we want this to be a reference to red ghost. We'll say view, and then let's go ahead and debug out. This is going to be green ghost serialized. Green ghost. There we go. Save you. And let's go ahead and run you again. And here we see our green ghost, after it's been serialized, is back to being a string again. So we have our name. It looks very similar to this one, except it doesn't have those new lines in it, which is perfectly fine. Generally speaking, you don't want to send any extra sort of superfluous data when you're sending across the network. So this is great. We want like bare minimum number of characters in here. We have our name, red ghost, color. Okay, so everything is sort of as we expect. Okay, so what if we don't want it to be one-to-one? What if we want something special, a little bit more custom? What if color here needs to be something else? So like instead of a struct with this red, blue, green, and blue, what if we wanted this to be like a tuple where we have it's like a tuple of U8s? I've actually run into this before, this exact same problem before, where I had JSON coming in and the color that I needed had to be in this format for working with a crate that I'm working with. So we're not changing this though. I don't necessarily have control over the JSON coming in. Otherwise it'd be very easy for me to say, oh no, it's now just an array coming in or something like that. And Serde would be able to handle that just fine. But with this, Serde on its own won't work so good for us. So the answer here is to create a helper, and then we have to manually implement serialize and deserialize for color here. So So I'm going to go ahead and remove you. It's going to start yelling at us because color now no longer implements serialize and deserialize. That's going to be fine. We're gonna figure this out. So first off, we are going to create a new helper struct though, and that is going to implement serde derive. So we'll start with struct. We'll do color helper, and this will be our red U8, green U8, blue U8. And we'll just copy this, derive over to it. Okay, great. Now this helper is basically going to be used to bring in this color sort of as we expect for it. And now we can implement, so impl, let's do serialize first. So impl serialize for color. We'll implement the missing members for it. It gives me this type here. Okay, so function serialize, we have our generic S. We have a serializer that's handed in to us, and it's going to turn this entire thing, which we don't have to worry about at all. It locking it down where it's saying this generic has to be some kind of serde serializer, but we don't have to play around with that. It's just all we have to do is this to do in here. So we also have the self here. So we're serializing, so we're turning this into a string, right? So I want to, let's see, and let's see, I want to have this. Oh, right, we're turning this into a color helper, which then gets serialized because it implements this here. So I'm going to create a color helper. We'll have red here is going to be self.0 because in RGB, well, red, green, blue. So red, green is self.1, blue is self.2. Okay. And now at the end of this, I do want to serialize that. We're going to use the serializer, and I don't believe this returns a result S as serializer, which is exactly what I think we want here. So if I hit save, you're so far, you're okay. It likes this. So let's go over like what exactly is happening here, because I know this can like look a little bit confusing. So when we call serialize, so we're saying, okay, we want you to string this. That's calling serialize on the entire object, and we're doing it on game object. And so, okay, it starts serializing, it adds in the name, that's great. It gets a color, and it says, okay, we want to run serialize on it. It finds this function here, and it runs that. Serialize then hands in the serializer that it's going to use, which in this case, it's a JSON serializer. Color helper is what we turn it into. So like here we say, okay, we actually really want this color helper. Create a struct whenever we're doing the serialize. Create the struct right now, but then also immediately run the serialize function on it and pass in the serializer. And then, well, this already knows how to serialize because we have the derive on it. The serializer is passed into us by this toString, so it knows exactly what's going on, and it will turn it into the JSON string that we want. So that's what's happening here. And if you're confused about like where this serialize sort of like magic comes from, that is the derive. This derive serialize adds that in to us. Okay, that's the easy one. Deserialize is going to be a little bit more difficult. We're going to do impl deserialize for color. Implement are these things. Okay, so first of all, if I hit save, it's going to immediately tell us that the implicit elided lifetime is not allowed here. So we have this lifetime DE. We have to use this. Or rather, it's attempting to use a lifetime DE that we haven't like set up. So it wants us to use it right here. So I'm just going to copy and paste it in here. Now this is going to fail. And if we hit save, it'll tell us like, hey, you're now attempting to use an undeclared lifetime. Okay, well, what that means when we see this is that we just need to go left and add it to the impl right here. So I'm going to add in the D there, and this just makes it work. Now we don't have to worry too much about this lifetime. What we're really doing is we're telling Rust that for however long like this thing says it's going to exist, everything is going to exist. Since we're not working with like references here directly, then it's fairly simple for us. We don't have to worry about it too much. Now, this is deserializing. So we're coming from a color helper and we're going into a color. So that's, and let's see, I have a note for myself in the back of how we're working on this. I want it to, right. And this is going to look a little bit weird. Don't worry, we'll walk through it. Okay, so in here, we want to run deserialize. Deserialize, so the actual method deserialize in here. We pass into deserializer, which is passed into us. Okay, so far it's just a little bit of magic where we're off the trait directly, we're running deserialize. Okay. And then we have the bit like the confusing part. We're going to do a map, and we're going to get a color helper. So let's just write this as color helper here. And then I want to return this as creating a new color, which is going to have our U8s here. So I can use color helper dot like red, color helper dot green. Now I want to actually just destructure out of here directly. So I don't think you actually know what this is, right? So color helper, I think I have to tell it it's a color helper. And that's red. I want this to be color helper. Helper. Oh, I keep on doing down arrow to like try to select this. It's not there. I need to use tab, I think. Color helper dot green. Color helper dot blue. RGB. Okay, great. And then I want this to be returned as it is because I've just mapped, I've changed, I've converted from a color helper like this to a color like this. So let's sort of like see what's going on here. So we're running our deserialize function. We're passing the deserializer. So JSON deserializer, because that's what we're doing here. So sorted JSON from string. It is mapping. So it's running the deserialize, and I say, okay, well, now convert it. Allow me to like write a little bit of custom code to run sort of like in between, like before you completely finish, let me do something. So I'm telling it, hey, what you're getting in is a type color helper. And notice that if I don't add this in here, it's not very happy because it doesn't know what this color helper is. It doesn't know what's going on. So I have to tell it this is a color helper. Now it knows that the type coming in from the JSON string is a color helper. I can then convert that to type color. And now when we run everything should be fine. What are you upset about? You are no field red. Oh, right. Now color is no longer just that struct. Now if I want to change this, this is going to be, let's see, red ghost, dot color, like dot 0 is that, and dot 1 is that. Okay. And unused results, right? So when we do, this is now a result. So my toString, let's do an unwrap here. And now everything should work as expected, the same way it was before. So let's cargo run this again. Here we have our red ghost raw. That's still exactly as we expected it to happen. Now red ghost after deserialization is, well, still the red ghost as the game object. And then the green ghost, as we serialized it, is exactly the same too. So we see that. Now, when we're doing our map, this is like, I don't know, we have to retype the color helper over and over and over again. We can destructure this. So we can basically extract the values of color helper inside of this closure definition right here. So we can do color helper, red, green, blue. And that means this color helper here, we can just go ahead and multi-line delete that, and it becomes color red, green, blue. Much simpler. Everything still works. And if we rerun this, everything is still the same. This is about as complex as you're probably going to get, especially when you're beginning with Serde and deserializing. There's an entire book on Serde, which I have in the lesson that this video is in. That is something that's great to sort of look into after you sort of play around with it, or if you ever run into a situation where you're not really sure what you need to do, but you want to do something with Serde. The answer is usually yes, you can do that. It's a pretty complex tool, and it's really amazing all the things that you can do. And that's it. That's what we have for this lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Phil, sorry about not responding. I didn't think that we needed to necessarily cover that in the lesson. But also thank you, Andrew, for responding for me. Yeah, so as Andrew says, the include stir brings in the file at compile time, which means now the contents of the file is in the binary itself. If that's something you don't want, then you don't want to use include stir. And if that is something you do want, then, well, obviously just use that. Benefits for it, well, if it's in the binary, it's always there. You can trust that it's always there, and it's basically just the same as hard coding and writing something like this in to your code. It's there, it's compiled in. If, however, you want to keep your binary as small as possible, you probably don't want to use include stir, because that means, well, you've just now increased the size of your binary with all this text. And if you have a really large file that you're loading in, that may not be exactly what you want. You might want to bring that in at runtime instead, which there is other, I think you want to use like the actual file read, like a read file or open file, read to a string. You want to use that entire pattern that you see in the book. Does that answer your question, Phil? Also, Epic Blarg, hello. Don't worry about lifetimes. Live in a moment. YOLO. I saw that. That was good. Also, how are you doing today? Okay, let me rename this before I forget. Okay, so working with JSON. There is that. It wasn't good enough to ruin the recording though. You need to up your game. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know. I don't know what. Like I'm certain you're going to do that. I'm certain it's going to happen. With the new releases, we can finally leak string without a box. Really? I haven't played with that at all. How do you let's see? First of all, I have to remember exactly what leak does. That's probably not going to work out very well for me. I guess we could look at Rustlang. We'll go to standard. We'll go to box and take a look at boxes leak. Consumes and leaks the box, returning an immutable reference to the content. Note that type T. Okay, yeah. So basically, it just gives us mutable reference to the content. And now we have this. This is off of a string. We now have a leak. Consumes and leaks the string, returning a mutable reference to the contents. A mute stir. The caller has free choice over the returned lifetime, including static. Indeed, this function is ideally used for data that lives for the remainder of the program's life. Yeah. This is ideally like, no, really. Please. As dropping the returned, this doesn't require unsafe. It does not reallocate or shrink the strings. The leaked application may include unused capacity that is not part of the return slice. If you don't want that, call into okay, so does this just hard crash? It doesn't return a result. So you can read from a file and create a static string. Leak is safe. Okay, hold on. I wanna play with this. So we have guess if I turn off these debugs, then none of this really matters. We have this as an include stir. We can do this as a file. It's been a while since I've done this, right? Is there like a read file? I don't think, is there a read file or like a 2-file macro to use? Or do I have to do the entire thing manually? Like the entire like empty file, empty string, open the file, read to the file. I don't remember. It's like I work with files so rarely. It was like read. Okay, so there's file. What does file do? Expands to the file name which it was invoked. Oh, that's just this file. That's not helpful. So I want to just do all the things. Okay. Setsu JSON mute I guess I don't really have to pull this in from a file, do I? We can just, you know what I could do? This will be kind of silly. I include the stir and then I to own this. Turn that into a string. Then like standard FS read. Okay. That doesn't look like a macro. Read path, read the entire contents of a file into a bytes vector. Okay, and then I could, okay. So I just give it a path. So this case, where is the path? Is the path from the current file? Probably not. The path is probably from the root of the project. So then it goes into source example.json. Read to string, that's what it is. Okay. So that JSON equals read to. Oh, I was hoping this would find it. Import. Oh, there's multiple of them. Let's import from FS. Okay, we'll turn you off. We'll delete you. Read to string. Where do you come from? Well, we'll find out. I want to imagine that this is from the root of the project. So we're going to go to source example.json. Cannot find you. Aren't you this? Like, is this a real error? This is a real error. Okay, cannot find macro root string in the scope. Oh, is it? Wait. It's not a macro. It's not a macro. I see. I'm not even looking at chat and you're screaming at me. No, it's not a macro. Yeah, sorry. Okay, got it. Unwrap. There you go. Now we have a string. So we have a string from a file. If I debug you, did you find the thing? You did. Okay. Perfect. So now I want to leak this. So let leaked JSON is going to be json.leak. Now this becomes a mutable stir, which means that I can now mutate it and change it to be something. And according to the documentation, if I change it to be something smaller than what it is, that doesn't change how much size it takes up because, well, it's a stir. Like, we can't do that. We're only mutating it, so we're not us. A stir is basically like a size and like a position in memory, and so we can't change the size. It's just the position in memory. So if I do leak JSON is going to be equal to hello. If I debug leak JSON now, ooh, expected a mute stir founded a stir. How can I change this? I mean, I could do a static stir. I don't know if. Oh, we can just change it right here. We can just say like, hey, you're a static mute stir. And then I can change you. Maybe. So I could say that you here are a stat. I'm so used to being able to use down arrow with Helix. Static mute stir. You're upset. Expected a mutable reference, but I didn't find that. Interesting. I can't do something like, hey, become mute. I don't think that works. What can I do to change you? Maybe there's a method? I can turn it into stuff. Oh, wait. I can dereference it, can't I? So can I do that? Cannot be known at compile time. So it won't let me dereference this. How do I change it? Their example is simple usage, but I don't really get the point of this is for this example. Well, it then says it does not reallocate or shrink the string, so the leaked allocation may include unused capacity. Oh, okay. So I guess like what's the point of it having been a mute stir? The point is just to get a static stir? Okay. I feel like there's something we could do here with that, but I don't know what. I don't know enough. I don't know enough of the like, unsafe or weird parts of Rust to be able to do something with that. The dangerous parts of Rust. To basically say, okay, I have a static mute. Which just sounds weird to like say. I have a static mute. Or I have a mutable stir. Like I would imagine, shouldn't I be able to tell and force Rust to like let me do something? I guess it won't let me do anything because the left doesn't equal to right? So this needs to be a mute stir, and it's just a stir. I don't think I can force that. I think right? Yeah. I can't force that either. I might be able to say, okay, so now I have a mute stir here. Can I now turn you into that? Okay. Okay, so I read this JSON in and I leak it to leak JSON. I guess I can debug this thing. Then I create a new string, hello, and I leak that so I can get also a mutable reference to a stir. I then assign leak JSON to this thing, which works. And then I leaked JSON, which I only get hello here. So I'm not, like, it doesn't debug, like, knows what to do, and that's fine. But this leaked JSON is still the size that this file is taking up. So I can't make that go away. Now, if I attempted to make this longer than this, so I don't know exactly, can I get the size off of this? I don't know how many characters this is. It's like as byte cares. Is there, oh, count. Here's count. So give me the number of characters in here. 107. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Go. Pretty sure that's over 170. Should I just use length? Can I have length? Oh, there's no length. Maybe there's length on this. There's a length on that. See if it's the same thing. 107. Okay, perfect. Now you are 208 characters now. So if I attempt to assign this to be more than that, I would imagine this should crash, right? This should not let me do that. But it does. I reassigned the pointer. Did I? I was really hoping that I wasn't doing that, but I probably am. Yeah. Okay, so I'm reassigning the pointer here. I don't think there's a way for me to manipulate this, is there? I can't like map it. I don't think I can get an iterator off of it, right? I could do make ASCII uppercase, but that's not. Yeah, I'm trying to be evil and like and do something. I'll make it like bigger than it was before, but I don't think ASCII uppercase will change the size of the stir. So I can't do anything like that. I can do asmute pointer. Yeah. Okay, so basically it looks like I can do some evil stuff on it, but I actually don't know enough to be able to do any evil stuff on it. So instead, we could use this trick to get static string, that is pretty cool. Pointer leads to the dark side of the force. Yeah, so I believe like I could do the asmute pointer. Right? So like let pointer equals to that. And then I can do some stuff with this. But I'm not going to. That being said, this is pretty cool. We can do a I haven't really done this very much. I've seen some other people do it. Is like we could do a quick like little video that we just throw up onto YouTube on its own and just say, hey, look, this is a really cool new thing that we can do with strings. So let's with that one, everybody's used to me using Helix. We can use normal Helix for this. This is cool to be drop-in replacement for include stir. Yeah, except it's at runtime. And runtime, the reason this is really cool is now we can change that file every time we run it. So I can basically have like a configuration file or like a to-do string if I wanted to do something with like the stream. I could basically, yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do at runtime, which basically stuff that happens on my computer, maybe on your computer, it's different because you give it like a different configuration file or something like that, where it's not something you ever need to change once you get it into the code, but getting into the code, you want it different each time it runs. So that is really cool. So this is like runtime static stir. Okay, so oh, and it's leak. It's basically string leak that came with 172. Perfect. What was that template engine that we played with years ago that required everything to be an include stir that was a pain to deal with? I believe that was Handlebars itself. That was... No, that's PHP. That's not that one. No. Oh, do I even have this any overlay? This says it's CSS. No, this this is not CSS. Okay, so let's see, what do we have in you? Cool. Actix Web. That's it. That's it. Oh, there. Adding handlebars. This was so long ago. So did we put include stir in here everywhere? Don't remember. I don't remember, but I believe that was handlebars. Well, so include stir. Oh wait, you saw include stir? Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's our include stirs all right. Stacking, that is a really good memory. I don't remember this at all. But okay, so we have, this is handlebars. So handlebars, we are running register template string, and then, okay, so which handlebars template we're gonna run. And then include stir to pull in at compile time these templates. And so now we can get these at runtime. Because I do remember this annoyed me that they had to be at compile time, which meant that if I wanted to change a template, I had to make it, I had to recompile the entire thing. It was that much of a pain point that was ingrained into your memory for maybe for life. Oh, that's fun. Well, I mean, why not both, right? You can have this as a pain point, and you can have your lifetime. Box leak appeared in 2018, 5 years ago. I mean, that's been around forever. It does feel like that. Okay. So let's try this. I want to try a micro lesson. It's not, I'm not doing a YouTube short. We're going to try this as a micro lesson where it will be normal. I think we can do is normal chat, so I don't need to like turn off all this stuff. So I can turn music back on. I can turn the alerts back on. And this will be just the experiment. YouTube wide, yeah. All right, so basically it's just a new feature. Let's check out a new feature. What was the verdict on RT1 RTI? I was going to go back and watch the VOD. Wait, what was RT? I'm terrible with acronyms, so I'm don't remember. Well, okay, it's not that I don't remember, it's that I'm my brain's not making a connection right now. I need more. Rust transverse. Oh yeah, okay. So Rust transverse. I like it a lot. I like the look of it a lot. The problem is that the core use case for Rust transverse doesn't have something that I want, which is the ability to open a file from Rust transverse. In fact, there doesn't seem to be anything really like going on in here. So like the most that I can do is create, read, update, and delete files and directories. But when I exit out of it, I can't CD into it at all. There's nothing configurable for that. So it's basically just for a way for me to see what's going on and then create files, and that's it. So I can still do the same thing with Ranger, plus I can open files. So it's like, if they add in that might make it a lot more compelling for me. Wonder why they would compare to NNN if it's just a basic file manager. Yeah, I don't know either. it feels like, well, it's inspired by the NNN file manager, but you could even see it's not even on the feature roadmap here to like open up a file or CD into the file. Because I can inside of here, I can change directories to wherever I want to go and I can do stuff. But if I want to say, okay, now drop me back into a shell and let me do stuff, it's like, nope, sorry, you're back to where you started, which is just like what Ranger's default is, but Ranger has a way for me to configure it to not do that, which is what I've done. And that's unfortunately why Ranger will stay what I'm doing right now. That's my super quick what my like view of it is right now. Also configurable, we need a lot more configuration options. I would love to update these. Like I don't need my disk space all the time here showing. I would love the current directory to display a lot more. Right now when I try to show this here, current directory gets cut off pretty quickly. So in the end, this actually feels a lot like this is super good for somebody's workflow, but my workflow is different enough that it's not good for me. And the answer, the other, I guess like that also is an alternative answer to the why would you compare it to NNN? If that's what you are using NNN for, then this is perfect, right? No, not that. I want tab rename. Okay, let's play around with string leak. All right, let me try recording a false. Wait, what? Oh, I missed the previous thing. I feel like they're classifying themselves, which isn't great for the project. Maybe? Yeah, they might be. I wonder, now that you mentioned that, it makes me wonder if they're also making the comparison to try to drum up interest in the project. I have no evidence one way or the other, so I could be completely wrong with this. But it's a pretty ambitious comparison. All right, let's jump into this. We're gonna play with string leaks and sort of what this gets us. And it was, what was the other thing? It's I deleted my VS Code, or I closed it already. It was read to string. Is it read from? Read to string. That's what it is. Okay. Okay. All right, let's just wing it. See how it goes. Then here we go. Hello YouTube, it's Brooks from Brooks Builds. I'm live here streaming and I want to do a really quick sort of video on a new feature that's dropped in Rust, which allows us to have static strings at runtime, which is a really cool idea, and it actually solves something that I ran into a long time ago that well, really sucked. So let's go ahead and sort of dive into it. So to begin with, if I want to read up a file at runtime, we can use read to string. Well, let's go ahead and let's create a file first. So here I have, let's see, we'll keep this in source for here. So let's touch. This will be maybe just like, I don't know, config.json. Let's do config.txt because I feel like being lazy and not even doing JSON. Come over here and I want to let our config equals, we're gonna use read to string. There it goes. Okay, so it found it. We tell it where to find it. Read to string grabs the file from relative to the root of the project. So we want this to be config.txt. Okay, we don't need that there. And we'll just, this is an example. We'll just go ahead and unwrap you. Okay, let's debug this, make sure we actually found it correctly. There's our config. And if we cargo run this, we have nothing in there. Well, that kind of makes sense. Let's open up config and we'll just say hello world. There we go. Okay, so we have our hello world in there now. Okay, so I have this as a full string though, which is what if I wanted to treat this, what if I needed this to be like a static string? Well, we can now convert this because string now has leak. This is very similar to box leak, where in a box leak you get access to a mutable reference to the, well, underlying thing that we throw into a box. Like a string would then give us it would consume the box and give us a mutable reference to, well, the string. We can now run leak on a string itself. Let's see what that gives us. So you can say, let's maybe like leaked config equals config.leak. And if we do that, we now see that we have a mutable reference to a str. Well, this isn't really a static string, is it? But documentation says that we can basically just customize this lifetime however we want. Specifically, we can make it a static. So we can now say, I want this to be a static str. And that's what it is now. Now we can treat it like a static str, even though we loaded it in at runtime. Which, let's just debug this. Here's our leaked config. Now, obviously, it's just sort of like making changes to this or changing that. We don't really want to do that, and I'm not really even going to try. But if you ever felt the need that if you ever needed a static str at runtime, this is how we're going to get it. And we'll cargo run you again, and we have, it's just this hello world. It is a static str, and it's exactly what we sort of expect that to be. I just wanted to show this off because this is pretty cool. This would have saved me a while back, a long time ago. I was making, I was doing some Actix web. I think this was back before 1.0 with handlebars, and I needed these include strings all over the place, which meant that these handlebars were included in compile time. This would have prevented that for me. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this is helpful, or at least maybe a little bit interesting. If you want more of these, let me know, and I'll look out for them and do more recordings during the stream. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye. All right, let me name that so I don't forget you. That is string leak. Nope, wrong keyword. String leak. I thought about getting like a keyboard switcher so I can use this one keyboard on both, but I've never found one that I've like actually felt is good. Okay, so we have that. It's 8:23. Setting up a Rust workspace. So I think I wrote that yesterday. Whoa, why are you small? Okay, that was the JSON. Set up a Rust workspace. Okay, so this was a fairly short article about how we can set up a Rust workspace, and it specifically has like, okay, describe what a workspace is and describe why it's useful. I might want to take that and update my sticky. Let's move all of you out. And if I remember correctly, setting up workspace is just a workspace with, it's been we actually did it not too long ago. Let's go find. Want that one. Whoa, nope. Where's my home directory? Nope. There it is. Okay, so I want not that one. Do I have is this a Rust workspace? Oh, that's not a Rust workspace. That's just a monorepo. Whatever's in here, course articles is not it. Web server. This is a Rust workspace. No, it's not. Okay. Oh wait, no. Solution. Solution is a Rust workspace. What? Okay, no, never mind. I thought it was. Oh, it wouldn't be web server. It's not code. Okay, so hold on. It's not Axum Assessment web server. It's Bookstore API. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so we have workspace and then members in there. And then that's pretty much it. That turns it into a workspace. Instead of typing :W, it started to press escape in any situation, and in not Vim, it just removes cursor complicity. It's worse. It's absolutely worse, because sometimes I'll do escape when I want to like exit a form, and if you're in a modal, escape almost always closes the entire form, even if you filled out 90% of the way. It's bad. Yeah, thank you, Stacking. I was looking for that one and I couldn't remember what it was called, but it's the Bookstore API. That's what we called it. So it's just here like this. This is fairly simple. So I want to open up, I guess we can use iTerm for this. We're okay there. CD into code playgrounds. Do I have a workspace in here already? No, I don't. Okay, so We'll do that. And then describe what, describe why, and then set up a Rust project. Okay. Here we go. Oh wait, no, I have to turn off music and alerts. Okay. Let's talk about workspaces in Rust. They can be extremely helpful because it allows us to basically nest Rust crates or projects inside of one another. In the case of VS Code, this is super helpful because it means that Rust Analyzer will work in all the projects. Otherwise, it will only work in really the root project itself. Another reason that this is really helpful is Rust workspaces can allow you to break out logic from the base sort of project that you're working on into multiple sub projects. Think of this sort of like what you could, what you might think about with like a monorepo, but each of these projects could be their own repo and then really have one workspace that sort of integrates them all together. So you have several different sort of options for how the code is stored in your GitHub, or also how it's deployed. In the end, though, when you compile everything together, it's all going to be a single binary. So the core project, whichever the root one is, that's going to be essentially your binary that pulls in everything else. And this also, I guess, like another reason to use this, the workspace, is it allows you to have something that's separated out in a different project, but it's not, it doesn't have to be like deployed to crates if you don't want it to be, if it's something private. That would be more of like sort of a monorepo situation. Let's not get into that right now. Let's go into like how to create just a sort of workspace in Rust. Here I am, I've got my terminal, I'm in my playground. Let's do a cargo new, we'll do plain with workspaces. And let's open up VS Code here. All right, yes, I trust this. Now we start with just a cargo toml. If I want to turn this into a workspace, all I need is somewhere down here, we're going to add in another root sort of section, and this is going to be workspace. And that's almost it. One last thing, we have members, and it's going to be an array like this. Now, I don't have any members yet, so, well, we don't really have anything to do here. Now, if I want to add something new, I could either copy in a another workspace into here directly, or we could just do a cargo new. So let's do that. So here I am in plain with workspaces. Let's do a cargo new. Let's do like maybe our sort of like maths, new maths. All right, so it yells at me and says, hey, this you're inside of a Rust crate and your attempt, like this is not cool. You're gonna have to do something with workspaces for this. But we see maths here, and it's a full Rust crate on its own. It has its own source, it has its own cargo.toml in the root here. So we're going to add in members maths. Now everything will be fine and everything will be great. Now, if I want to pull in and use something from maths in here, I need to add that to dependencies. So let's go ahead, let's not use main. Let's actually delete that and just use a library. I could have created this with a --lib, probably would have been a better idea, but I forgot. Not really that big of a deal. We're gonna create a lib.rs. Let's create a pub function, maybe like sum 2. So we're gonna have maybe a first number. This is gonna be an i32, and number 2 is an i32. And we're gonna return an i32. A contrived example, but it should work for what we're trying to get across here. We're gonna return number plus number 2. Okay, great. This is a public function, so it's available outside of this library. So if we come back to our cargo.toml here, we need to mark this maths as a dependency. So I can say we have maths, and we need to tell it that its a path is dot slash maths. That's where it can find this crate. Okay, so if I save that, Rust Analyzer reloads, everything reloads, we should be fine. Now I'm going to go into the root source, into our main.rs. We're going to need to pull in that sum2. So let's do let results equals sum2. Okay, so use maths. So come into maths, get sum2. We're going to have our number. So let's do 1 and 2. And we'll just debug the result. And let's cargo run this. And I can see result equals 3. Now, in this specific case, it's not really all that helpful for me to like run maths on its own. It's specifically some kind of utility or helper crate that I use for the main project. But now I don't have to write these functions that I'm calling inside of the main project. I put them in this workspace separately. So that way it can be separately deployed, separately updated. Whenever main needs to be recompiled, it doesn't need to recompile anything from math. So it should be a faster sort of recompile situation. Those are sort of benefits for using workspaces. This gets much more important when we have things like working with databases or working with complex sort of math or anything that doesn't change very often or changes at different paces. Then the business logic in our main crate, we probably want to put that into its own crate in a workspace, because that way it compiles on its own. It's separated out. We can mentally sort of compartmentalize it and be like, okay, we're working in maths right now. We're working in the main business logic. We're working in this other thing over here. They don't have to be aware of each other. They don't have to know anything about each other. And I can take this entire crate and I could drop it into another workspace if I want, and it's just available there. In fact, I could have a workspace that just has many different projects all available for me, and VS Code is going to be happy for me no matter what I do. Anyways, that is Rust workspaces. It's pretty easy to get started with them, and it unlocks some powerful things that just sort of makes things better for us in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Yeah, whatever you use CRM, CRM. That's the thing, is like, I think the first time I did CRM, I did not use workspaces, and just everything was in that project, which is not fun. But now I think like the lack of recompiling the file is the biggest benefit of it. And I guess monorepos are a thing too. You can do monorepo. This really like kind of supports a monorepo architecture. All right, I don't know why I'm like command tabbing over on this computer. It's the other one that I need to work on. All right, so you are going to be renamed to Rust Workspaces. So yes, we can use them with Git submodules. I have tried using Git submodules like 3 separate times in the past, and in the end, I've regretted it every single time. I think you're still fucking up the dependencies though. I think anything at the root cargo will be included in all the projects, which means you'll bloat the projects that don't need them. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, that's too bad. Well, you could do an empty project, right? We could do an empty project that then has that has everything else. That means you'd have, can you do nested workspaces? I don't think I ever thought about that. Maybe. But yeah, I get what you mean. That's yeah, it's probably not best to use that just for anything. It's best to use it for something like this, where it's like, hey, I need something in the maths library. Let's pull that in. Now, something I haven't tried. Can I like symlink this in? That could work, maybe, possibly. I think though it might be better to I don't know a good way to do this. Can I do wait. Can I do a Rust workspace where members no, probably not like dot dot because like then there's no that's not really a Rust workspace. I don't know. Just like breaking something out into one project, I guess, is the best way to do it. I might re-record that later on. Anyone who suggests Git sub has never used it in a real project. Yeah, I like the idea of Git submodules. The idea of it is so good, and then implementation is horrific. It becomes this like eldritch nightmare in your code base, and then just like things stop working because they get out of sync or just something else happens, or like, okay, you need to cd into that thing and then do like a git pull, but you have to do git pull with a sub command to make sure it's git pulling from the sub module. It's not great. You think under the hood tools like PNPM is legit just a sublink. So maybe we could just do sub maybe that would work. Is like I could bring in a tool like maths if I wanted that to be somewhere else. I could pull that in with a symlink and then have that be a workspace, and you don't care. Like your code editor and everything else thinks that it's just right there, but it's not really. It's just its own repo somewhere else. The other choice is to use the equivalent of something like Lerna. I've not used Lerna myself, but I've heard good things about it. I don't also know if it works with Rust. I think it only works with Node. Yeah, it's for JavaScript stuff. Does it have any good? You basically just like create a it's basically creating a workspace using Lerna's sort of system, and then it sort of like pulls things together and does it properly. VS Code would display it as a symlink. I wonder. I've used. You can also just symlink yourself in Node modules, and it just works. So, I mean, that's that. If you've ever done npm link for local development, that's literally what's happening behind the scenes. Is it's just symlinking. But I haven't done symlink of like a full project, essentially, not something inside of Node modules. So if I'm allowed to open it in VS Code, so like here, so if let's go up here so that VS Code is like not aware of what we're doing. I guess we could do this out here in iTerm. So we have playing with mouse workspaces, then new, like we'll call this maths 2 here. Oh, I keep on doing that as a binary application. It's new math. Okay, then I want to symlink this. So I want to do an ln maths2 to work. What? No, playing with workspaces. Playing with workspaces, I guess just like that. There's maths2 like that. So then if I open up code here, here is maths source. Oh, maths2 doesn't show up. Maths2 doesn't show up. npm link. Is that what it's called? Hold on. Yeah, npm link. So there's a thing in npm where you can basically say, okay, I have a project that we've deployed to, npm, but I want to update it and edit it and test it locally in something else before I go and update it for reals. So you could basically say, okay, I know you normally go to my cool library, on npm, but instead point towards the local version of my cool library here that I can then make changes to and instantaneously see in like another project. And that's what npm link does. It's a two-part. You have to run it in two different directories. Here is a link to the documentation. If you're interested in that, if you're doing any kind of library development, this is essential to work with. Okay, so I've got those set up there. Yeah, VS Code is not showing. Okay, so VS Code is not showing maths2 here, which is sad. I don't know if that means like I have to tell it to it's like follow symlinks when searching. Okay, so it knows about that. That's not going to be in here. Yeah. So if I remove maths2, let's try just an ln without the -s. So maths2 to here. Oh, it has to be that because it's a directory. Ooh, okay. So let's see, -s is symbolic link. Can I create what's a hard link? P1, create a hard, no, oh, just normal without S is a hard link, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know if there's a way. I don't think you can do hard links to directories. So I'm not sure. We'd have to play with VS Code to see whether or not VS Code could read it. I try refreshing VS Code File Explorer. I created it first. Okay, so let's do this again. So we'll do our -s. Okay, so maths to maths 2. So here this is. I'm going to open up VS Code here, which, oh, now it shows up. I could swear it was closed and I opened it. Okay. How do I, huh. Okay, well, never mind. It now works. Hard link directories would allow circular file system structures. I mean, come on, what's the problem with that? When has circular structures ever caused issues with anything? Come on. Don't you want your backup system to have the risk of a infinite loop? Or maybe just even doing like an LS? Okay, so never mind. It now works. Okay, so I have maths 2 and maths, and we can play around with this. And these are symlinks, and we can see that this is symbolic link here. So perfect. Said a Rust developer. Yeah. Look, Rust doesn't protect you from stupid decisions that you as an individual make in the code. It just makes sure that the code runs, but it doesn't make sure that it's going to run well or like not cause runtime, problems like infinite loops. We can still do that just fine in Rust. All right. So cool. Okay, this might work. This might be better option. And then I can come to cargo toml. I can say, okay, I want maths 2. I do a path. So maths 2 equals okay. You're happy. Source lib. Here we even have add set up here already for us. So let's come into main. We'll do add. Result 2 equals add from maths 2, 1 and 2. Okay, that works just fine. I think that this I think that's an option, is keep everything in its own repo, keep that at the root level, and then symlink them into the project to use, which I have no idea. Maths 2 is an untracked file here. So now notice that it's just a file, not a directory. So it is just the symlink itself as the file is here. So you would need to tell anybody, okay, if you're working on this project, you must have maths 2 somewhere, like, at this, wherever this cargo toml thinks that it is, you must have maths 2 there. Did you know that Windows have symlinks, but it differentiates between file and directory symlinks? It's kind of very annoying when writing platform agnostic file system tools. Writing platform agnostic anything feels just like a nightmare, which is one of the reasons why I don't want to do that. I am very happy to be in the world where all I'm doing is I am utilizing higher level stuff that everything else do. Everything else does. Everything else happens. Woo! Hello. I don't know how to pronounce your username. So, how are you doing today? Will I upload this VOD to YouTube? Yes. I've been uploading all the VODs. I think I took like a week break where I didn't break like streaming. I just took a week break of like literally doing the work to upload the VODs. But I'm back. Those are back and they're slowly coming in like on weekdays, I think. So yes, this will eventually be on YouTube in like a week or so. But it stays on Twitch for 2 weeks, I believe. Awesome. I'm glad for that. If you run into any problems, please reach out on Discord or here on stream, and we can help out. I know that the biggest issue that people run into is like minor differences between the versions that course initially was pushed up as and the version now that you have is it's like small differences, but they can cause issues when you're first starting to learning. So if you run into anything, it might be that. All good until now? Perfect. Excellent. Well, it is after 8:45. I need to take off to go to my day job. So I will be back tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. Mountain Time. We will continue recording videos. I've got this. I should mark this off as video done for Rust Workspace. I don't know how much I like it, but that is done. I think I want to create like a video introduction to the Workspace assessment, maybe. I don't know. We have to sort of play around with how that's going to be done, and then we have just a bunch of things to do. So with that, have a great rest of your day, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.